It's not very often that I accidentally stumble across a story that hits so close to home, especially not a story told in the form of a manga. I personally find that manga isn't able to invoke the same human emotions and make it matter as well as other entertainment mediums are able to. But every now and then, I find one that's able to pull off something other mangas fail to accomplish. Hey everyone, Rayori here, and today I'm here to review the obscure title known as Tetsugaku Letra, written and drawn by Sumomo Yumeka. I think it was around 2 years ago when I came across this manga, and at the time I was going through something one might call an identity crisis. I was just generally confused about everything from who I was, what I wanted to be, and what others thought of me, and the question of will I ever be able to grow the balls to ask someone to a school dance, which to this day I have never done because I would rather be in my room playing video games than in a hot, sweaty school gym surrounded by equally hot and sweaty people with loud music that I'm sure not everyone likes playing in the background. Spoken like a true introvert. Anyway, the point I'm trying to make is that I found this manga at a really strange time. One could say that I ran into this manga at the best time, and when I went back and reread it for this review, I couldn't agree more with that statement. Tetsugaku Letra is a shounen slice of life that tells the story of our main character, Ichinose Kimitaka, who in middle school taught his friends to play basketball, and as he watched his friends grow and eventually surpass him, he causes an incident evoked by his jealousy and frustration. After this incident, he hears his peers wishing that he would just die. However, upon meeting a girl who seems to be just like him, they decide to trade shoes with one another. One a pair of basketball shoes, and the other a bright red pair of dancing shoes. With aims to change his life, he enters high school, which is where the story begins. There is so much to be said about this manga, both good and bad. Now, I'll break the typical format and briefly go over the negatives of this manga first. There are some elements of the story that just seem too over the top and really make the reader wonder if things that actually happen to that extent. At times it solidifies the story and aids in developing characters, but it's unable to strike a fine balance between making it matter and just being over the top. And around a third of the way through, it begins to drag certain story arcs out a little longer than they need to, which makes it a lot harder to be continually invested when there just seems to be these reoccurring moments. And this breaks the overall flow of the story and often pulls the reader out of the experience. Nevertheless, there are so many things that make this such a great manga. Despite some of the issues regarding the pacing of the story, it does a fantastic job in making the relationships of every character feel natural. Every single character has wonderful chemistry with one another, and even with their individual personalities, it never feels like they clash. And one thing the story does phenomenally is it doesn't paint anyone as the bad guy. It approaches it in a way that gives reason and meaning behind everything people do and say. It paints a very realistic and believable scenario for all of its characters. Yeah, you'll side with certain characters, but you can't help but think, well, I mean, the other guy is completely justified in the way he or she acts. And when it comes to the actual cast of characters, they are some of the most lovable characters I've had the pleasure of meeting, as corny as that sounds. All of the characters get a perfect balance of development, and it isn't forced or rushed. The development of the characters are all spread out and balanced equally, and it's done in a way that doesn't seem intrusive to the overall story, making it feel a lot more natural, like you're getting to know real people. And it was great to see how each of the characters' arcs played a role in adding to the themes and messages that this manga offers. Of course, because this is a manga, I cannot not talk about the art. Now, for a lot of people, the art might be a major turnoff, but I personally found the art to mesh well with the story. The art has a very aggressive style to it, however, it's not hard on the eyes, and sometimes it will actually break away from that aggressive style, and you can see these elegant panels of art that really stand out. Simply put, the art isn't just there to provide an image, but it's there to tell a story on its own. There's so much attention to detail in the characters' faces and emotions that I couldn't care less about the background. And it was fascinating to see how this art slowly evolves as the characters evolved. Basically, you can just take away all of the dialogue and the words, and the art would be able to tell the story just as well. Listen, in conclusion, Tetsugaku Letra is a phenomenal manga that tells a realistic story of a stage I think every person eventually goes through in their life. Yes, there are some pacing issues and whatnot, but to be able to provide an emotional experience to the degree that this manga was able to in 27 chapters is impressive. The art is amazing, the characters are amazing, the story is equally as amazing as it is relatable, And, you know, I'm going to be biased when I say this, but I think there comes a time where we all want to find hope in something. And that comes in many forms for countless different people. But for me, this manga is one of the few things that gave me hope. That is why my final rating for Tetsugaku Letra is a love it and buy it. Everyone, please do go check this manga out. It's a short read and it does not disappoint. For the 3 people who have already read it, let me know what you thought about it, as I'm always curious to know. Anyway, if you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up, and if you want me to review a certain anime or manga, please leave me some suggestions in the comment section below. And as always, thank you so much for watching the video, and until the next one, I'll talk to you all later.